Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the ever-improving No Soundbites Allowed podcast. My name is Michael Vasquez. We thank you for joining us in this adventure of describing the politics that go on in our nation on a personal and local level as often as possible, giving you, the audience, more than just 30 seconds to understand what's going on in our nation. We look forward to joining you as we go. Just sit back, enjoy the ride. Please remember, if you like the episodes, like it, share it, let other people know, and if you can, please donate, even if it's $2, even if it's $5, because it all makes a difference. We thank you, and here we go. And hello, everybody. I hope everyone is well and having a good Monday morning. It's been quite the day, I think, for all of us. The weather has been brutal. At least if you've been out walking around doing 11 miles, talking to people, knocking on doors, I think you may find that it was a very hectic, difficult day. I mean, it's cold out there, and it's wet, and it's not fun. But it is worthwhile, especially when we have the election being tomorrow, November 6th, and I hope everyone will go out and vote. Please, just go out there and vote. I don't care who you're voting for, whether it's a Republican, Democrat, conservative, libertarian, whomever you believe in, whoever conveys the issues that are important to you. Please go out and vote, because I think that is very, very important. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about today, and I hope it's going to be clear, is I was just talking to a couple of people. Let me set it up for you. I was speaking to a couple of individuals I know down in D.C. Doesn't matter what their party preference is. It's probably not what most people think it would be. But they were talking with me, and we were having this conversation. And in between the calls that I had received, I was also watching a couple of YouTube videos because I was trying to relax, have a nice day, like most people, waiting for football to come on. And I know I should probably be watching football right now, and I probably won't have a lot of people watching because they are watching football, but whatever. And it just struck me all at once. Something that I thought was remarkable, and I wanted to share it with everyone. Maybe you'll find it funny, maybe not. We'll find out in a second. But I wanted to talk about it, and I'm trying to find my sound effect to make it look okay. So when I was done speaking with my contacts in D.C., and I was watching this YouTube video, particularly by a YouTuber named Thor Skywalker. That's right, Thor Skywalker, on his video on Rey, comparing Rey to Ahsoka. If you're a Star Wars fan, you would know who that would be. And that kind of brought me to this thought that Star Wars is just like the midterm elections. That's right, Star Wars is the 2018 midterm elections. Now you're going to say to me, Mike, what are you talking about? How's that connected in any kind of way? Did you bump your head today or something? No, actually I didn't. Quite simply, I was having a conversation, and it just really struck me that when I'm watching Disney's version of Star Wars, not the original trilogy, not the prequels by George Lucas, I'm speaking specifically about the Disney version of Star Wars. And when I was watching that, and thinking about that and watching the video by Thor Skywalker, and it's just making me think, every time we've heard Disney talk about Star Wars, we're told certain expectations that we must have. We're supposed to be looking at Rey going, oh my God, she's the greatest character ever. And mind you, you may think she is. That's not the question right now. Whether you think she's great or not, you were told from the very start, as soon as Disney started mentioning Star Wars 7 and we learned about her, we knew she was the new lead. She was going to be the superstar. The story circles around her. And we were told that we should expect and like her, and that she's going to be great, and the movie's going to be great, and all these characters are going to be great, and we're going to love this, and this is exactly what we want, and go to the movie, and you'll see it, and you'll agree. Or else. Because if you didn't agree, especially once we started seeing, not so much in episode 7, but in episode 8, if you didn't agree that these were great characters, if you didn't agree that this was a great movie, if you didn't agree whether or not there was a Mary Sue or whatever, then you were labeled and you were ostracized. And that's the big thing. If you did not live up to the expectations that you were told you were supposed to have, then it's your fault. You're the problem. And, God help you, something's wrong with you. And what have we seen when we've been hearing about the 2018 elections over and over and over again? Well, the number one thing we've been told in the 2018 elections is that if we don't agree, well, then there's a problem with us. We've been told there's a blue wave coming. There's a blue wave coming. There is a blue wave coming. And that's it. That's going to be the whole thing. We don't even need to show up at the polls because there's a blue wave coming. Does that sound something like Star Wars under Disney's control? Rey is coming. Rey is great. That's all there is to it. You don't have to watch the movie to know that Rey is great, but you're going to go to the movie and see Rey is great. Well, we've been told, poll after poll, from various pundits and news agencies, the blue wave is coming. You don't even have to vote, but you better go out and vote and make sure it happens because it's a blue wave. Democrats are going to win. That's it. And if you don't agree with that, and if that doesn't happen, well, something's wrong with you because they've already told us what our expectations should be, how we should feel about this, and this is going to be the result. And I can tell you, I've talked to nearly 2,000 people so far. I've knocked on about 2,000 doors. I've talked to hundreds of people. I've been talking over almost about 150 miles in the Binghamton Southern Tier area, talking to people about the election, plus the feedback I get from various people, both who are political and just regular common people. And I can tell you, that's not necessarily what I'm seeing. And in fact, that's not what you're seeing out there at all. Let's take a look at this. So this is the Real Clear Politics generic 2018 poll. By the way, why are we using a generic poll? Why in the world, the day before an election, are we still seeing people refer to a generic Democrat versus Republican? Every race has someone. It's a defined race. There are no generics in this at all. All the races are about specific people. But still, we see that the Real Clear Politics, they came out with their most recent polling as of November 1st, but it doesn't really matter. What they're telling us is that this race is supposed to be for Democrats. They're going to win by 7, or they could be winning by 13 or by 8, or they could be losing by 1. It all depends on who you're talking to and when you're talking to them and which pundit that you prefer or not prefer. So it's stupid, but they're telling us there's a blue wave out there. They're going to win. This is the expectation you should have, and if you don't have it, then there's something wrong with you. And I reject that completely. This is that Star Wars, that Disney effect. We're telling you what to expect. We're telling you what to feel. We're telling you what to do. We're in America. People are free to vote any way they want to. If you want, please go out there and vote Mickey Mouse. Tell people that you don't agree. If neither of the candidates satisfy you, write in Mickey Mouse, or Donald Duck, or someone else's name. That's what we're supposed to do. We have the ability to vote, and they can't tell us what the vote's going to be before we actually make the vote. They've gone from predicting to telling. So I don't like that. And, you see the generic vote, and it's supposedly the only thing that I see when I look at the generic vote is this blue wave seems to be diminishing and diminishing and diminishing. And it means that my expectation is, and my prediction would be, that we're not going to see the House change. Republicans are going to maintain the House, and you're going to see less than 20 seats change. Democrats will get 20, gain maybe 20 or less seats, probably somewhere closer to 18, 16, 18, but less than 20 seats. You're not going to see the House change over. That's what I see. That's the reaction that I'm hearing from people because they're planning to go out and vote. Not because they're listening to a pundit like myself or any other pundit. And it's not because they're looking at a poll that's telling them, well, this is what you're supposed to believe. This is what you're supposed to think. They're saying, no, this is what I do think. And I kind of find it interesting because with all these generic ballots out there and all these pundits who are saying, well, we know what the answer is, okay? It's kind of like Star Wars. They know we're going to love that movie even though we haven't seen it yet. Well, what we're hearing is, I'll give you an example. This is 538. That's a news media kind of organization, a pundit. And they're saying, oh, we know the answer. It's, look at this race. It's so close, but it's going to go for the Democrat. It's going to go for the Democrat. Now, the real key thing here, when you look at this, because they absolutely have no idea what they're talking about. And this is just one example, but this is a race I'm very familiar with. And I've been following the New York 22nd race for the last 10 years. Every candidate, every vote, every election. And what you're seeing in the 538 prediction, I want you to look at this. I'm going to show it to you again. I want you to follow me here. Look at the forecasted turnout. 246,000 people. Okay? 246,000 people, 44% of those available to vote. Guess what? They have no idea what they're talking about. There has never been a midterm election where 246,000 people in the New York 22nd District ever show up. They like to say they're predicting that 90% of all districts have that kind of a turnout. And they predict that the New York 22nd District is an R plus 12, almost an R plus 13. They're out of their minds. They have I don't know where they're getting their data from. They have no idea what they're talking about, none whatsoever. But this is what you get when you look at generic answers from people from other parts of the country that have no idea what's going on. Okay? The New York 22nd District is an R plus 6. What that means is there's 6% more Republicans than Democrats. So this is a district that is heavily leaning towards Republicans. Every time there's a vote, there's usually going to be 6% more Republicans voting than Democrats, and that's usually going to be the way that the vote turns out, whether it's going to be Republican or not. Even though the New York 22nd did vote for Obama. So it's not a predictor of who's going to win per se, although it does tend to tell you if there's going to be a lean. And that's why President Trump won by 15 points. People came out to vote, and they didn't go by the pundits. They actually voted. And look at the economy we have now. And that's part of the reason why I can tell you, a lot of these pundits have no idea what they're talking about. And you say, Mike, well, that's just your guess. You don't know that 246,000 people aren't going to show up. And quite honestly, yes, I do. Here's the last time that there was a midterm election. In 2014, and this is from Ballotpedia, as you can see, there were 175,000 people who voted. 175,000. The biggest race for the New York 22nd District in recent history was the 2012 election with President Obama, and he had a re-election. 280,000 people voted. Now, you may say to me, well, Mike, 280,000 is more than 246. Yeah, except that's only in a presidential year. You don't see those numbers in midterm elections in the New York 22nd District. I wish we did, and even at that, we're just barely hitting about 40%, 4 out of 10. We're not going to see that. I'm telling you, the numbers, especially with the rain, it's probably going to be closer to 177,000, which is the norm. If it were really good, we might see 186,000 people vote, which is about 4.7 out of 10. And that's if we're lucky. The last time we had about 3 out of 10 people actually come out and vote. I hope you change this. I hope you all come out. I hope the Republicans come out and vote on this economy, vote against the red flag legislation, in favor of the Second Amendment, in favor of the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, and being able to speak, and not this PC politics and PC control over our thoughts and our words, and being told, just like with Disney, being told what we should be expecting and how we should be feeling and what we should be thinking. I disagree with that entirely. And when you're listening and you're looking on the internet and you're looking at people who have their thoughts, please keep in mind, some of these guys have no idea. 538 has absolutely no idea what's going on in the New York 22nd District. They have no idea what's happening in the New York 14th. They have no idea what's happening in New York 19th. They have no idea what's happening in the Iowa 2nd or the Wisconsin 5th. They have no idea about any of these races. None of them. We've been relying too much on pundits, and as a pundit, I'm telling you, people rely too much on us and say, well, what do you think? And, well, tell me what's going to happen. I can tell you what I predict. 177 to 186,000 people are going to vote. This race is going to be about 51% for Claudia Tenney, about 46, maybe 47% for Anthony Brindisi, and the rest are going to be blank votes or write-ins. That's basically what I see. But that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. I think that is what's going to happen because I think Republicans are going to come out and vote, and I think that you're going to see Democrats not. I think that most of the people are going to, and that maybe that changes. Maybe this motivates people. I don't know. I hope it motivates Republicans just because I'm a Republican. You're watching a Republican political commentary. But what I think is going to happen is you're going to see, 3.7 to 4.4 out of 10 people actually show up. It's an abysmal number. New York State is horrible for having people show up. But that's what I think is going to happen. But when I listen to these pundits come out one after the other, they have no idea. And they're telling you, oh, there's a blue wave, there's a blue wave. You know what else they told us about? They told us that in the New York 22nd race, that Claudia Tenney couldn't possibly win. She's going to lose by 7. She's going to lose by 12. She's going to lose by 8. Really? Look at this. This is from Real Clear Politics. You know what? They only count the Siena, which I don't know why they're only counting Siena. But if you notice, there's a trend that's going on here. Back in August, Anthony Brindisi, he had a +2. And when it got a little closer to the election, in October, he's a +1. Just a couple of days ago, he was back down to losing the race by 1. What's that telling you? The closer we get to the election, the more motivated Republicans are. Not the blue wave, but Republicans are getting more excited. They're going out and they want to vote. And the people, and not only just the Republicans, but Democrats as well, are looking at, we have a great economy. We don't want to raise taxes. That's what Nancy Pelosi has promised. That's what Anthony Brindisi has promised. We're looking at more security in our nation, with North Korea actually talking about peace talks after 65 years of being at war with the United States. We're seeing changes in NAFTA and redoing these treaties that, no, it wasn't done in the proper way, the way that we are used to with our politicians, but it was done effectively. And we're seeing a betterment for the United States. We're seeing the number of people who are self-employed increase. We're looking at the number of people who are finding jobs going up. Even in New York State, the 50th worst business atmosphere in the entire nation. We are literally worse than Mississippi, which is like crazy. And it's no offense to the people in Mississippi, but not an economic powerhouse. New York State relatively is, with the fifth largest economy in New York City in the world. And we're 50th in business friendliness. People are leaving this state in droves. 1.2 million, maybe 1.5 million people have left this state in the last 8 years under Governor Cuomo and his Democratic policies. And what are we seeing? And somehow we're supposed to see a blue wave. People are, Democrats and Republicans alike, are saying, well, you know what? Yeah, let's raise those taxes even higher. We should have higher taxes for everybody because that's what's been promised. No one agrees on that. Maybe we should shut down some of those businesses that just got opened by increasing their taxes. That sounds like a great idea. Really? And we're going to take that money and we're going to give it to illegal aliens that cross our border. Why would we want to do that? But that's what the polls have been telling us. That's what we've heard the news media and pundits tell us for months upon months. We've been hearing this since January, February. There's a blue wave. The public wants to give stuff. We want to reward illegal aliens. I don't know anyone who wants to do that. Even Democrats I know don't want to just give people stuff for breaking our laws. But I know Anthony Brindisi has done so. I know Nancy Pelosi believes that. I know Charles Schumer believes that. Senator Charles Schumer and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, they believe in this. They believe that they shut down the government to be able to give illegal aliens free stuff. Not Americans, to illegal aliens. And we've heard them rally behind that and say, yeah, that's what we should do. We should just give away stuff to people who broke our laws. Why? Why? That makes no sense to the average person. We should close down businesses so we can increase taxes. Why? Because rich people have money. Rich people create businesses. What's wrong with that? And if I create a business, I can be rich too. I don't know anyone in America who says, I want to be poor. And I hope I never get to meet someone who says, I want to be poor. No one wants to be poor. We all want to be rich. What's wrong with that? And if we can create a business, if I can create a business, grow my business and be able to employ other people, they get to make more money, I get to make more money. Where is this a bad idea? But yet we're being told by pundits over and over, the blue wave is coming and that's going to happen. And this is a good thing, that we'll have less businesses, less people employed, higher taxes, and we'll give stuff to illegal aliens. Really? Who thought up this idea? And it just throws me nuts. And I'm telling you, I look at all of these numbers when they're showing this, and it's just, it doesn't make any sense. The numbers aren't real. Oh, no, wrong thing. I thought I had more graphics here. No, I don't. So, I mean, I'm looking at the graphics, I'm looking at these numbers, and I'm thinking, the only thing that makes sense about this, when you look at it, every time you look at it is, this is Disney Star Wars. That's what this is. The entire election cycle has become Disney Star Wars. They started advertising for the 2018 election back in February with their teasers. And the teaser were, what was their teaser? The generic ballot. Oh my God, the generic ballot's up 13. Yeah, these guys are going to win by 13 points. In February, are you out of your mind in February? Look at all the things that have happened in the United States since February. North Korea, Iran, NAFTA, the other trade deals that we've done, the economy improving, 3.5% growth, a million new businesses being created per month. Where's this wave? How are you supposed to tell me in February that that's going to be an actual predictor of what's happened here with all the things that have happened since then? It's just not possible. We had Democrats say since February, all of a sudden they came up with this idea that, hey, we're going to just get rid of our borders by getting rid of ICE, who helped to control the number of illegal aliens in the nation. We're just going to get rid of that entire division of the government so that people can just overrun our borders and come into this nation whenever they want to and just use our stuff. And I understand, I may be overstating and oversimplifying it, but that's what they're saying. Where is that factored in? No, because there's a blue wave. There's a blue wave. We told you. You're going to love this. You haven't seen it yet, but you're going to love it. This is great. It's great because we're telling you it's great. It's great because we're spending money ahead of time telling you how great it's going to be. And we're going to just beat you over the head. And I, like everyone else, am tired of all the commercials that are about the 2018 midterm elections. I am tired. We are in one of the top 10 most watched races in the nation. I predicted over a year ago that this would be a $16 million race. They have blown my numbers away. It's a $18 million race. 2017, I said this race would be, they would have to spend, to make it competitive, $16 million. They spent $18 million already, and it's still counting. We're going to break $20 million on this race once it's all said and done and counted. $20 million on one race. It's too much. It's way too much. So much conflicting data, and people say that all the time. And I'll tell you, if you still haven't made up your mind, and I know there has to be about 5, maybe 7% of the population have not made up their mind, even though they plan to vote, go to Congress.gov. All that does is, it's impartial, it's not a pundit. All it does is list every single bill that a representative has put in, every single vote they have taken on a bill, and what those bills mean. Check it out. See if Claudia Tenney has been living up to her word, if she's been doing what she said on her campaign promises, and see the votes that she's taken, see the bills that she's put in. There's over 22 that she put in, 273 that she co-sponsored, 3 that have passed the House. You go ahead and look at that and see whether that matches up with what she said. Go to WRVO. Look up the downtown hospital. Look at what Anthony Brindisi says privately about people asking him questions, about people who have concerns about their community up in Utica. It's a question of character. Look that up. See if that matches what you heard in commercials. It may not. You may think it's something worthwhile or not, but that's up to you. WRVO, by the way, is a news agency, and they have the actual emails from a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, of the private emails in Anthony Brindisi talking about his character, talking about what he wants to do to his constituents for asking him a question. Look it up for yourself. Downtown Hospital email gate. Look at the reality that's there. Don't listen to any of the pundits. Don't listen to me. I'm giving you sources. Go to the sources. Don't trust the polls. The polls don't know what they're talking about. And that's the main thing I really wanted to get into today. The polls mean nothing. Don't look at the polls. You want to see a poll? See the poll after we get done with the election. See those polls. That's going to be accurate. Every other poll beforehand, every prediction beforehand, my prediction, every pundit's prediction is absolutely wrong. Nobody has any clue whatsoever about what's going to happen. And no matter how much money they spent, we've seen $20 million spent in this race. It has nothing to do with who is actually running, what have they actually done, what did they actually say, and what their character is. And you can only find that out by looking it up and speaking to them in person if you have been able to. Look up exactly what they've done, not what someone thinks they've done, not what someone says about what they've done, including myself. I'll tell you, even for myself. Yes, I know Anthony Brindisi, I know Claudia Tenney, known both for 5 years. I've spoken to them many times. Don't go by my word. Okay? Don't worry about the red flag legislation. Well, I would say worry about the red flag legislation and the votes there. Look that up. That's a matter of fact. That's a record for Anthony Brindisi. Go and look at the votes for Claudia Tenney and lowering the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. See what the impact has been in our economy, whether you have more money or not, whether we have more jobs or not. Go ahead and take a look at that. Yes, I am partial. Given. I admit that freely. But check it out for yourself. But don't look at the polls. Don't listen to someone say there's going to be a blue wave or a red wave. I can tell you that neither one of those things exist. Don't listen to any of that. Don't be told. Don't let this election become another Disney type of promotion. This isn't Star Wars. Okay? It's not Disney Star Wars where you're being told you're going to love this. And then after the fact, no, you don't. At least half of us. No. Go out there and vote. Most of us will be happy with the results if most of us show up. If 7 out of 10 people show up to vote, I guarantee you'll be happier with this government than you've ever been before. But if 3 or 4 people out of 10 show up and vote, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be upset no matter what. I hope everyone comes out. I would love to see 280,000 people come out and vote. I would love to see 280,000 Republicans come out and vote tomorrow and go Republicans straight down the line. I would love to see that. It's not going to happen. It's not even going to be 240,000. It's going to be between 177 and 186,000, but every single one of those votes matter. And God help me, if there were 280,000, every vote would matter even more. It's even more important. Come out and vote, no matter what you think. I know everyone's watching football. I hope everyone has a great time. Enjoy the game. Check this out. Tell me if you liked it or if you didn't. And we'll see if I'm right or wrong tomorrow. And we'll go forward from there. But I do thank each and every one of you for the time you've given me today. I hope you have a great day. And I look forward to talking to you again all very soon. All right. Bye-bye.